Welcome back. My name is Adnan Naseem Khan.
And my name is Vincent Martin.
So this is our talk on the Levee, part of our Hybrid Diaries series. And like we mentioned in every episode, Hybrid Diaries is a series of interviews or analysis and observations of people who are on constant migration due to reasons other than financial. So we took a tangent with Father Talk, and this time, because of the COVID-19 aspect of things right now, social distancing. This time all of us got a lot of time to self-introspect, to actually go deeper into our heart and soul, to identify real aspect of compassion, ideas of compassion to your own self, learning in a deeper dimension. So we've been talking over about our next episode, and
kind of like organically grew.
It just organically grew. And On the Levee is an event marketing company and an event space company, I would say. They do quinceañeras to corporate events.
It's like 13,000 square feet here, man. And then they have two other separate rooms. We're in one of them for like green room, dressing room.
Actually,
whatever.
When Vincent told me about that, hey, we can take this to this platform. As you see in different spaces here, there's a lot of artists have collaborated, and they are common friends, and the way it all organically happened, and Mike is so cool to let us do this here.
Yeah.
So
late night too. We're here like, what time is it? It's like midnight or something.
Probably no, it's not midnight. It's I think 1 o'clock.
Oh wow.
So on this, especially our talk on the Levee, concept of this came about, and especially in this episode, we will reveal our process of first how we met, how we've collaborated on different aspects of visual and audio, and how we found each other, constantly evolving. If you're getting tired of certain aspect of our artistic self, we can always find different offshoots to balance that off and kind of stay off tangent or travel and find something amazing close to our soul.
And kind of connect. Through art, how do you connect with your inner self, and how do you also connect, I think, with your outer self or other people, other spirits out there? Basically.
Absolutely. How I met Vincent was
through
Chelu. And we ended up talking about certain things, and somehow talked about meditation. And he mentioned that he was working on some soundscapes.
At that time I was working on a series of binaural beat frequencies, but also aligning them to the chakras. And so then he was talking about his meditation, and I was like, well, hey, try one of them out. I'll send it to you. See what you think.
Right.
So at that time, had you heard of binaural beats?
Yes. So at that time, I was using this app called Mind Dozer. And I was, like I said, I was trying to find different techniques to meditate and be peaceful. Pretty much is looking for more transcendental meditation things, aspect of things, because of time limitations and on-the-go meditation kind of things.
Yeah.
And then when I met you, you told me that you were actually working on your custom beats.
Yeah.
That just fascinated me. I was like, dude, when can you get connected?
And you were talking about time constraints. One aspect that I was actually writing was I was trying to keep each one about 10 minutes long, because my whole concept was like, for most people, we don't have an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to sit there and meditate. So I wanted to be able to create these 10-minute songs. Everyone usually can take a break during their lunch, or right before they go to work or something, or right before they go to bed. Just take 10 minutes out of the day and be able to sit down and use some of these binaural beat frequency compositions to help put them in different brain states or different, relaxation.
Getting to the travel, and that's going to get us into our first serious collaboration in Medellin. we've been doing these things called travel logs. So as we travel together throughout different places like Denver, different interstate travel, we started doing these. So I always took my drone and he put some music on, and we do these soundscapes and our expressions and impressions about the city, until we get to this crazy place. And I had an idea to go to Colombia.
You kept bugging me for months, like, let's go to Colombia.
Let's go to Colombia.
I was like, what?
And I had a feeling somehow I just had to go. What ended up happening was we got there and we chose a place called Medellin.
Yeah.
Somehow, again, I mean, I've been to Cartagena before in Colombia, and this time, instead of Bogota, which is the capital of Colombia, we ended up going to Medellin, and we thought, I mean, in Medellin, we found a lot of cooler things, right? But the first day we went, we got there.
We didn't even go to Medellin. We went up into the mountains.
And honestly, yeah, we didn't plan this shit at all. We landed there and we picked an Airbnb on feelings and intuitions.
Yeah.
And we got there 30 minutes taxi ride. We don't know anything. We don't know the language. We don't know anything. And we get to the most indigenous part of the mountains.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, Santa Elena, right?
Santa Elena.
Yeah.
And in Santa Elena, this place we were staying, it was an ayahuasca ceremony place. There's DMT and ayahuasca ceremony place. We could just feel that energy there. We took our devices immediately because it's 9,000 feet above the sea level.
Yeah.
And as and clouds start to come in, filter through.
The view too. Remember the view? When we first sat down, we could lay in this hammock, and if you laid in this hammock, you looked down the mountain, and Medellin just opened up. So it had this beautiful view of Medellin from the mountaintop.
Right. We felt the energy of that place, and that's its own signature. That's when we realized that why we do travel logs. Because at that time, when I was just scanning through, I had a quick visual in my head that few months later, we're going to come up with something. And it's going to be cool. And this is going to be something which is, whenever we see it, it's a refreshing idea of collaboration, it's a refreshing idea of art. It makes us happy from inside and satisfaction from inside. That's one of those pieces. In the trilogy we did in Medellin, we recorded the city version, the mountain indigenous version, and we did the heart version in the city. All three versions you can go check out. We'll put in the links. You can go check out the whole trilogy. And the concept of trilogy was, again, more something deeper than just expression. The relationships between Colombia and us. We went in and presented those three videos we did captured on cell phones and GoPros, and kind of give students over there at the University of Antioquia information about how you can be resourceful and still create art. And then idea of that basically was the relationship between Colombia and the image of Colombia and United States. Think it's always some narco traffics and over there, and Colombians think that it's a Donald Trump world and all that. So we wanted to eradicate these misconceptions. And I think we did that partially our part as artists, but this is one of those versions. But this one goes beyond everything based on the ragas and the collaborations. We're going to discuss the techniques after you watch this.
Yeah, so check it out.
So check it out. What you just saw there was a collage of video layers together. And when I was doing that, I could just feel that I could go back. I had to go back to that part of my imagination of feeling to get to the editing table to do that. He is in a separate room. He actually stood up late that night to record the real thunder there.
Yeah.
And the sound of the rain.
Yeah,
It's
that first
all
night we
real.
were there, it was raining. There was a nice little thunderstorm coming in, and I captured that live up in the mountains.
And what he did basically, and he's going to explain his part, he made it atmospheric, right? And with that kind of, and telling you basically, this is how our collaboration has become and evolved into, is that trust we have on each other. When I'm editing my video side, he's editing his audio side on a completely different scale. And once you marry it together, it just becomes something amazing. We don't have to mess with more. It's almost like playing music together.
Yeah.
Like you have that connection.
It's like being in a band.
Being in a band. So we don't have those creative conflicts which a lot of collaborations have in this situation when there's no money involved.
But also, you also do give me ideas and I give you ideas, because even on that Montaña, you explain what you put in you threw in
Well, yeah. So talking about just cross collaboration, he had all the atmospheric part, and then that inspired me. And I was practicing Rag Bhopali at that time, and Rag Bhopali is that morning like deep raga. It's like and just to give you a quick thing, what raga is like soundscapes where originated from way back in India. If you go way back in time, all these stads and musicians, spiritual musicians, use these ragas as means to connect to the spiritual world and bring information and resonance, and feel the resonance of everything around you, like a shaman through singing or humming that frequency in a certain pattern. And that's what was felt, and we recorded that.
Yeah.
And you modified it into so many different layers, and it becomes this. And then our very good friend Scott Gresham Lancaster came in, tripping balls, and we're just. And then
he brought this like weird guitar or something. And
then he brought his amazing guitar. It was like metal-looking guitar. Yeah. And then we actually closed the room and left him alone.
Yeah, we
left him alone. We're drinking our tea or whatever, and left him alone. And we heard something coming from the room, like something like a strangest sound.
Yeah.
And we got in there. He was into it. It was like, just keep recording. And then once we combined it all, it was, and it was all organic.
Yeah.
There's nothing planned here. This is growing on its own. And as I'm editing this, I'm identifying these different layers speaking to me. And then his sound came in. When we really combined it together, we had something we could smile on, man. And we still smile and chuckle when we look at this piece together.
That's what's great about it, I think, that it's still lasting, you know.
Montaña is the most lasting, and I think one of our best collaborations, in my opinion. We've done a lot of work together. Yeah. But that was something which we didn't have to work at all, and came out with something.
Had a like spirit of his own.
Okay, so next collaboration, man. On to the next one, man. I don't know if we're taking a lot of your time. I mean, whoever wants to stay can stay. Go brew some coffee. We have 3 more to go.
Pause or come back.
We get 3 more to go, and this is Art Talk on the Levee, man.
Art Talk on the Levee.
Art Talk on the Levee. Okay,
so next one is actually even a bigger collaboration. It's with a local theater group here, right?
So the second collaboration we're going to talk about is something really close to me as an artist, performer. We do immersive interactive theater show through a company called Dead White Zombies, organized, directed, and created by a mastermind called Thomas Riccio, one of my greatest mentors, my professor and director, a very, very dear friend. I met Thomas Riccio through one of my friend, Elisa. Alicia actually is great. It's a great photographer, man.
Yeah.
Her sense of cinematography is just beyond. So we were collaborating a lot during that time, and she got a chance to meet Thomas, and he was filming T&B at that time, and I could not make it. This show was in a broken drug house where all kinds of things are going on, and it's immersive and interactive. Basically, you're among the characters. They're interacting with you. They're interacting among themselves, and you can change the course of your narrative. And it's been observed by multiple devices, cameras, CTVs, all technology involved, audio, visual sensing,
even,
all kinds of interactive devices involved. So, and he documents rituals and write books and teaches at UTD to masters and PhD students. Thomas Riccio, look him up.
Amazing.
Just amazing.
We're actually
fortunate to
we're
have met him.
talking about having him on the show in the future.
He's gonna be Art Talk on the Levee, man. Art Talk on the Levee. We're gonna be bringing a lot of artists. We're gonna be bringing, and that's the idea of Art Talk on the Levee. People, if artists want to come in, the idea of this show is to collaborate on film. Is to break down your process for other artists to learn, telling them that there's no secret sauce to anything. It's just collaboration is very basic human attributes. It's empathy, respect, discipline, and follow through, and it's almost like a business, right? If you really think about it. But then that kind of trust is built after you've been proven yourself responsible on those collaborations, right? So, so this piece is called Holy Bone. It's really hard to explain our shows. All Dead by Zombie shows.
You almost have to go to them
because you almost have to experience an immersive reality. But what I can explain is there were 3 parts to it, major parts. So we always take over buildings. We took over like 6-7 spaces. And in those 6-7 spaces, we have multiple characters. We have 13 characters spread over within a mile distance from me. Best part about Dead by Zombies is, yes, there's preparation. Yes, there's a lot of improv, but at the same time, the freedom from the director, or the creator. We were rehearsing that same show for a year on different spaces. The show started in different spaces, immersed, 4 or 5 characters meditating together in Whole Foods. So we started getting kicked out from these places, but then we did trance meditations together as performers and rehearsals. Even part of our rehearsals were like, we're sitting and then we were doing these drums and trance and gong ceremonies within that show. And then by the time the air hit, we took it to the public. We were all prepared to do our part, and I recognized my thread, and he gave us the freedom to create your own character. And I came up with this different sound therapy ideas of tuning forks to.
And that's what we collaborated on too.
We collaborated on that. You actually started the music on that, and that music inspired my character to bring Isaac K on, and Isaac K started 3 layers drawing, which light in the dark paint, regular black paint, and then fluorescent paint, which the glow in the dark. So we had 3 layers of these things going, and then once I turned these lights on and off, and my lights were all interactive, I can do that. I had these magic ball, I can do the plasma thing, and I can do hums together. I can close my eyes and go into this character, because part of me changed during that performance. I had to give energy and take people's fears really. When we all meditate and hum on a certain frequency together, there was this strange correlation, a strange connection I felt with human beings, especially when the lights go off and we don't recognize our skin color or anything. We just come in and join hands and hum together our fears and then loved ones. It was one of the most powerful things I've ever been part of. Still resonates with me. And this is actually we're working on another show right now called Blue Jelly. Blue Jelly is going to be basically post COVID-19, we're talking interactive performance is going to be more interactive on film, and we're going to translate. So we've been planning on a lot of filming different locations and creating something amazing for the audience to tickle.
And we'll have all those links to on.
We'll have all the links for Dead by Zombies, and if you
Zombie.
want to check out Dead by Zombie stuff, that's great. This specific piece we talked about, this was a very challenging piece because he could not be in part of the performance, so he had to rethink.
I was out of town.
You had to rethink everything, and I had limited footage. I really didn't have much footage because I was the performer, so I didn't have whatever. There was 5-6 camera. There was probably 3 cameramen: Daniel Nanasi, Ritvik Kaikini, and Thomas. Pretty much shot it. My footage pretty much shot it all together with GoPros and all of that.
Yeah.
We had limited footage, but whatever we could do in this complex piece, this is what we came up with.
Yeah.
So you see after the video and discuss the technique a little bit.
First name, please.
We came up with this idea at 11 o'clock in the night. By 5 o'clock, that's ready to be out.
Yeah.
That story is told. That story is a one-night story. We're done.
Yeah.
And that's our Da Vinci times. And you can sit on it, do rehearsals and revisions, and make it a 1 month process, or just finish it in one fucking
That's
night, man.
often our Da Vinci times. We do set goals for ourselves. Usually, basically, we create the concept, we record video wise, we edit, we do all the audio, and we have it basically out on YouTube that within like what, 5, 6, 7 hours or something.
Right. And talk. It's a great segue for this next piece we're going to be showing you. Is we call Night Contemplations. We have been running this small short film video series since the time. It's 2017 when he came to me to California. When I was in California, and I was struggling big time with that. He was struggling, and we both were in a downward spiral. And he was there for what, one night? He was there for one night. He's returning back to Texas.
Yeah.
Got my cameras ready. And that same night, it was cold outside in our balcony. And we pretty much improv'd it.
Yeah.
And
in San Diego. Right?
Yeah.
It was in San Diego.
But it was this from the heart thing. You know, I mean, it was from within. We were both, this is the first time we both were on camera and kind of contemplated, and then we started a series based on that. We ended up doing 3 episodes, and links are going to be all in the bio, and you can check out if you want to go deeper in that collaboration.
I want to continue doing some of those too.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to be doing that.
Maybe even invite other people too.
Because the idea of Night Contemplations is pouring your heart and soul out in a dramatic way, in a whatever we're feeling from inside. It's vulgar, it's straight, it's sometimes it's dirty.
Yeah, unrehearsed.
Unrehearsed stuff.
Yeah,
and we pick up an idea and make a predicament out of it, or talk about it. It's short, digestible pieces. So enjoy this. Sometimes life just throws everything right back at your face, man. Sometimes you're totally wrong about your instincts. People say keep dreaming. Some people just are not meant to dream, I think. It's very important to see the reason. In a downward spiral, you hit the bottom, so-called. Everybody calls it bottom. Sometimes it really breaks you, right? It breaks you from inside. You gotta keep fighting. Sometimes it's just there's no meaning to fight anymore. People you're close to and dear to, and they're just letting them down, and just looking for one more push and motivation. It's the hardest thing to do. Sometimes you find something and sometimes you don't. It's the expectations from your own self sometimes are the worst things. How do you find the fucking difference between self-victimization, downward spiral, and real motivation? There's nobody understanding your reality when you're caving your own path. There's so many unanswered questions. Are the dreams and aspirations worth it sometimes? You're gonna tell your future generations that you want them to fight for their dreams for fucking what sometimes, man? But you gotta keep fighting, right? Yeah. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, in this particular collaboration, we, like I said, it was an hour collaboration, but we've been talking about this idea for a while. It's kind of like a coffee and cigarettes kind of idea, like you have these conversations at a place, but we didn't know how it's going to take place. So we, right from the filming, we set up the cameras, and again, this is what's happening right now. I set up the cameras, I'm directing this, I'm photographing this at the same time. So we had to compensate a lot because
even
the
audio wise,
shots were limited. Audio was really challenging.
We live, like the cars that you hear going in the background, that's the real cars. I mean, you're hearing all of it.
And that's what we decided to go. No, we were thinking about having a score, but then the tension was created through that natural sound.
You feel like you're really there.
You're really there with us. And it was honestly talking about limitation of shot. And there was a lens glare in there, if you see, and there was problems, but that's the best we could do at that time. But idea is not that. Idea was not technique on this one. Idea was expression. Idea was pouring your heart out and relating to people who are going through a downward spiral. And that was the concept. So some of our collaborations are very idea heavy or philosophically heavy. Mm-hmm. And some of our very technique heavy, where we do everything to the T perfect, and they're more about techniques. Like I said, if it's a drone shot, it's a perfect drone shot, and you see perfect things. Where it's just some are extremely loose because the idea took us there, the collaboration took us there.
Some were very prepared, and some were just like fly by the seat of her pants.
Fly by because that's the best time we could capture it.
Well, not only the best time, I think it's also because, especially like Downward Spiral, we had to capture that moment.
We had to capture that. He was leaving that, and I would never have that feeling again.
Yeah, and it was just
because now if you tell me now about that, I cannot go there. I cannot go there because I'm not going through it inside. I have to prepare myself a lot to go through that. But at that time, I was there. I was in there.
We just had to shoot it.
Actually, going back to that Santa Elena part on the Montaña, we meditate. This is the first time he followed my meditation technique on his music, on his sound score. This is how simplistic this next video is.
Yeah, it's one shot, right?
It's one shot, and there's another video if you guys want to check out. It's called Denver video. It's like I went from cell phone all the way, and in that Denver video, I did the whole 360 upwards. And I ended up falling on the frozen lake after that shot. Yeah. But this is a similar collaboration, but this is more of like really going through with a slow motion on his root chakra. Yeah. And this is a little bit, he's going to talk about his root chakra right now. And root chakra sound basically, in the soundscape he did, I've been meditating on that for the last 3 years. Last 3 years now, I'm talking last 7 years now. Wow. When I met you. So
was there.
So explain a bit to people how you
the
really
simple
came
version
about with
or the long they can get pretty complex, but basically most of those first compositions that I gave to you were all experimentations on binaural beat frequency compositions, basically. And for people who don't know what binaural beat frequencies are, binaural beat frequencies is this auditory illusion that happens when you take two frequencies and you separate them. You pan one frequency hard left to your left ear, and you pan the other frequency hard right to your right ear. But the trick is both of those frequencies have to be under 1,000 hertz, and the difference between the two frequencies have to be within 30 hertz. So like, let's take a easy, like 100 hertz. If you have 100 hertz, you pan that to the left, that frequency to the left in your left ear. Then let's say you take 110 hertz and you pan that to the right ear. And so what happens is this phenomenon happens where your brain gets kind of like it's battling the two frequencies, and it gets kind of confused. So what it does is it actually creates this third, what they call a phantom frequency or phantom note, to kind of put it in balance.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So what happens is when your brain does that, it helps. What they say in theory, what happens is the binaural beat frequencies help assist in brain entrainment.
Right.
And if you know anything about some of the brain waves of the brain, there's a few different ones: beta, alpha, theta, delta. There's a few more, but those are the basic ones. So betas like you and I right now, we're talking, our brain needs to be awake. It's the awake waves. There's the alpha. A lot of people talk about alpha as being like when they're in the moment, like they're in the flow. Athletes talk about it, musicians, you know, when they get that kind of runner's high, or when you're on stage and you just like lose track of time.
And then you get, and it helps greatly in transcendental meditation.
Yeah.
Because once you go, you want to have a quick succession of having that neurocardiac synchronization.
Students use it.
You can just associate your mind through that frequencies of soundscapes. You can go there directly, and it helps you greatly to be on the spot meditation, walking meditation, all those quicker meditation techniques. And if you're going to go passive meditations on some soundscapes he did, and you'll see all those links on request, because he's been really working hard on this for years.
So my idea behind it was to take not only binaural beat frequencies, but to also write a composition around it using all kinds of like harmonic resonance, rhythmic resonance.
And I ended up doing all those resonances in my performance with Holy Bone.
Yeah.
All of those things I've been learning and doing things with you, that I actually applied that on people.
Yeah.
And those people ended up seeing like themselves being hypnotized during that time.
Yeah.
They're all psychosomatic experiences, and we're deep into that. You continue to research on that.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to be,
I'm trying to
do you
finish.
have that link for people to get to your art chakra and download
Yeah, I
that?
just actually finished, I did a remix on my root
Interesting.
chakra.
Very
so I cleaned it up a lot, and I'm going to put a link out on.
How do you advise people to use that?
The best way to listen to get the effect of that auditory illusion is through headphones.
And then, I mean, AirPods do a great job for me, man.
And also what I recommend too is listen to binaural beat frequencies at a lower volume. It's not like you're listening to rock music or like you're listening to any other. It's not really.
Yeah, make it part of your like ambience as an
it's got to be background
for meditation, yoga practices.
It's not one of those things that more is better.
Tai Chi, meditation, all those practices. I mean, you can time yourself, discipline yourself. I think I highly recommend downloading one of those binaural beats.
And that's one thing I always hear from a lot of people that either have no experience in meditation.
Yeah.
A lot of them have a hard time sitting down for more than even 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
10, you know, so you have to like work your way up. So these are little, each one is about 10 minutes long. If you can only have time to listen to one, then you listen to one. If you feel like today, I need to work on my solar plexus, or if you need to work on 3, then you add 3, or if you want to listen to the whole one, then you can listen to all of them in a row, or make up your own order.
Yeah, because I had my own order, and I was doing 50 minutes.
That's what I want.
I was doing 50 minutes to an hour of, and I had it all timed. So first 10 minutes I do chakra meditation. Then next 10 minutes I do love and kindness. And then I do a little bit of TM, and then from TM I go into more passive and just leave it all.
And that's what I love about hearing. I love hearing.
And then I do sonic.
Yeah, I love hearing how people are going to interact with it, how they use it.
Especially with the sacral frequency, I try to resonate my own self when I'm in the pool or in the water, submerged in water. As you resonate, I did that with my child when she was second, third trimester. We did that very regularly to communicate with her when she's coming out, and it worked like a charm. Honestly, it was perfect, because our baby just knew everything when she came out. It was almost spiritual, and I had no doubts because I was meditating and communicating with her through those frequencies in the water, by touching and interacting and intending.
So check it out, though.
Check it out. And that kind of wraps up things for us over here. It was been great, like COVID-19 episode, man.
Yeah. We're
Like I
gonna do
said-
more of these, definitely with other artists too. That's the whole concept.
So this
right?
is the start of things. This is the start. We're just kickstarting this.
Yeah, this is the pilot.
This is kind of a pilot thing. But what we're really gonna do is bring out different artists next episode. Just to give you a preview, we want to do on music and depression of musicians who've quit for circumstantial reasons, especially job and money and childbirth of a child. Traveling musicians or other kinds of artists have quit their craft, the part of energy they were receiving, giving philanthropically and in any single way to help out other things, and they shut these channels of fulfillment. What really goes on and consequences of that, and we're gonna have the female cast for the first time within our podcast. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
We're still finalizing schedules because of COVID-19, but stay tuned. With that. I've been always wanting to bring those musicians to talk about their psychological insights of what they've been through and how can we help other artists and musicians out there in terms
not
of
just
techniques.
musicians,
not
I mean,
just
like directors,
all artists,
writers,
filmmakers, freelancers,
Yeah.
whoever is struggling, especially during this time of money crisis. How to navigate through these challenges mentally, spiritually, and physically. And that's the idea of our talk on the Levee. So we will bring in as many artists as we can to tell and share their techniques and learn together and collaborate and evolve together.
Yeah.
So if you have any comments, concerns, please share with us. Comment on our Facebook links. We're all over the place. We're on Spotify, TuneIn, Alexa. We're on Apple Podcast. This is all going to be audio and video. We're going to be on YouTube as well.
Instagram,
Facebook, all platforms. So connect with us. We'd love to make it interactive. That's the idea, at least. If you have any concerns, please share. And
thanks again for On the Levee for having us here. So thanks to my bro
Thank you so
John
much, Mike and
Mike.
John, dude, for allowing us this space. And it's going to be some cool things going to be happening in this space. Since cool people always find other cool people. Thank you so much. Have a good one.